Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of the Lines In podcast. Another week, the return of LigaMX after a long break, after international break, which here in the pod, we are all very happy with our respective international teams. So we're on a good mood and ready to get back into LigaMX and continue Leon's path to the end of the season. So, gentlemen, Carlos, Louis, how are we feeling tonight with LigaMX returning this weekend?
Always ready for it to return after what always seems like a very, very long international break. This one was a little different. It was the last string of matches for the World Cup qualifying, so there was more excitement around it than usual. Also, I was able to attend USA versus Mexico at Estadio Azteca, so that was cool too, even though it's kind of a boring game. But that was fun too. So this international break was a little bit more bearable than they usually are. But in any event, I'm very ready to get back to LigaMX play.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see how we kick off the second half of the tournament, especially with some of our guys coming back, Mar Fernandez, Chapo Montes, and our guys who are on international duty. They didn't get injured, luckily for us. So we're going to have a pretty good squad going into the second half.
And one of them is qualified for the World Cup. Another one has a medio boleto, and a few others will be missing out, unfortunately. But maybe fortunately for Leon.
Yeah. Who's Mena's going, right?
Mena's in, and Ormeño made the repechaje.
Yeah, and everyone else. Chile's out, so.
But Chile and Colombia are out, which means tough luck for William Tecillo, Jan Meneses, and Victor Davila.
Oh, and Cota's in. Let's not forget Cota.
And Cota's in. Although some news about a possible Tata Martino camp that might conflict with Liguilla did not make me too happy, I must say. Huh. I don't know if you guys saw that.
I didn't.
Yeah, look it up. I don't remember where I saw it, but Tata is talking about having an El Tri camp around the time when this Liguilla would happen, which could potentially keep LigaMX players who are on the selección from participating in Liguilla, which did not make me happy one bit, especially if Cota's not even going to play for the selección. But
that's true.
I suppose we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
I don't
Which would be the beginning of May?
Yeah, I mean, I would hope that maybe if it's players on the fringe, like Cota, who I don't see any way he would play in the World Cup, even if he gets called to the squad, maybe those kind of players would be allowed to stay with their clubs if they're in the Liguilla. Who knows? We'll see. But that's the best thing I can hope for with that.
Definitely. So let's go ahead and get started. I know it's been a couple of weeks, obviously, due to international break, but let's not forget the last Leon game before the break, which was versus Mazatlan. Louis, how you were there, right? Is that correct?
I was.
If I remember correctly. How was it?
Well, obviously, it was a very favorable result, one that gave us kind of a respiro, I guess you could say. 3 big points coming out fresh off of our elimination from Conca Champions. If you'll recall, traditionally we haven't done well in our next league match following our Conca Champions, or basically any league matches happening during our Conca Champions runs. And so this was, Mazatlan is obviously the bottom of the table, last place in the league, but that could have definitely been a trap game. And luckily it wasn't. Leon went out and put the pedal to the metal in the first half, and that was enough to win. And it's 3 big points that keeps them on the heels of the teams at the top of the table, with on the outside looking in, but they're in the mix near the top 4. And if they can string together some more results, I mean, they're right in the mix. We just have to remember, as rough of as disappointing as it feels like this season has been to this point, they're still in a good position in league play, and these were 3 big points that help to keep them there. So, especially after all the hullabaloo I had to go through to make the trip work, both getting there and getting back, working around my other schedule, it was nice that they were able to get us 3 points there. avenging what was one of the more disappointing losses in recent memory, in regular season anyway, a year ago. Also taking a 2-0 first half lead and ultimately blowing the game. This time they were able to hold on for the 2-1 and change the story. I had a great time. Obviously, Mazatlan is a fun place to go see a LigaMX. It's a fun place to travel to. It's one of the, as much as has been made of how a team was installed in that city, now that we've had the opportunity to go there a few times, you can appreciate just what a fun destination that is to go to a game. So I had a nice trip. The first time I went a year ago, I made some friends, and so this time I connected with them, and we all went to the game. And cool thing about how they have their stadium is it's out in the middle of nowhere. There's a big parking lot around it, and people actually tailgate, which is actually kind of a rare thing in LigaMX. Obviously common in the United States for any sporting event, but here in LigaMX, that's pretty rare to have a stadium that can accommodate that. So people have their camarones and their micheladas.
They also do it in. They also do it at Estadio Caliente. They tailgate at Estadio Caliente, but I think it kind of bleeds over from the U.S.
Yeah,
but I've also seen tailgates there.
And so everybody likes to get there really early, which is great because I like to get there really early too. And we all got there, had a good time. I was hanging out with my new friends, got the win. After the game, went to Joe's Oyster Bar, which if anyone is familiar with Mazatlan is like the famous like beach bar there, and ran into a couple players from Leon. I will not out them, but I ran into a couple players from Club Leon. Had a moment with them. We might not be great friends, but they do recognize me. So we had a moment, had a toast.
We had a moment.
we had a moment. I was able to brindar con ellos with my chela and theirs, and it was great. We had a nice little toast.
Trying to narrow down, who could have been there?
Who's the drinker?
Once we're off the air, I'll tell you who it was. I don't want to get anybody in trouble because I'm not entirely sure they were supposed to be there, but I don't know what kind of rules they have about that kind of thing. But generally, that doesn't. I've been on a lot of trips and been in the same hotels with them and stuff, and they generally don't do that. So I'm not sure exactly what the rules
because they were
are.
There was international break, so they were like,
right.
"Oh, we don't."
Maybe
you know,
maybe they were a little bit more lenient with the rules because of that. That's probably the case, but still, just to be safe, I won't say. But all in all, a really, really fun trip with a really, really favorable result that keeps us afloat, kind of consolation after what we knew was coming, but still never feels good to get eliminated in Conca Champions at home, even worse. So to go right back, and especially knowing that we're going to have a 2-week layoff right after that, it's always nice to get a win before that. Yeah. So all in all, great trip, good result. It's time to keep the train moving, keep it going.
Yeah, wonderful win. I think picking up those 3 points really helped a lot. I think the team morale kind of got a boost after that win, especially some of the youngsters that got some minutes in that game, and especially Santiago Ormeño, who got his first goal in that game with Leon in a green jersey. Well, in a LigaMX match at least. Yeah. So that's going to be huge for him.
First goal in LigaMX match. Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be huge for him going forward.
Should have been two.
Should have been two.
He was like a Mena shoulder blade away from being from getting a brace.
Yeah. So I like the direction we're heading in. Obviously after Conca Champions, you don't want to go out that way, but like Louis said, we kind of saw it coming. But yeah, I'm excited for the second half of the season. I think this win against Mazatlan should probably start a nice string of wins for us because we do have. I'd like to think we have the easier side of the schedule in the second half. I think the only teams that can maybe give us the most trouble is Puebla and Santos, maybe. But everyone else should be a pretty winnable match. But again, with this Holland team, the chemistry, the players are playing. I don't know you can never. Nothing is a winnable match anymore. I guess you got to play every game, 100%. And
everything's a winnable match. Every match is winnable. But to mark it down as a win, as a for sure win, definitely not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
On paper, it's a win.
Yeah.
But going in and actually getting the win is a different story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it was a better game versus Mazatlan. I think this break has given them a fresh air, a breath of fresh air. And I think also me mentally, I'm like looking forward to like, okay, maybe they needed this from here on out. It's gonna be, better than the last couple of games. Obviously the CCL definitely weighed a lot. So I know the players probably got a lot of, that mental way from that, and everything going on. So
CCL, and also this last window of World Cup qualifying, you have to remember how many seleccionados we depend on to flourish at Club León. I mean, basically all of our heavy hitters are also seleccionados nacionales, and you had to think that this last qualifying window was weighing on them, even during CCL. I mean, during all of the season, really. And now that's over. Now, I mean, there's nothing really of importance until the World Cup, and that's not till November. So that should be a weight off their shoulders too. Even those who will be disappointed that they didn't make it, and obviously Ormeño still has one game left to play. But I expect that guys like Meneses, Davila, Mena, I think now that their qualifying cycle is over, they can be fully invested in León. I think that could be a big boon for the team. I hope so.
Definitely. Any other takeaways from that game? Obviously, Carlos had mentioned about Ormeño, which definitely, I mean, we saw all the players, run and celebrate with him. Obviously, they have a very strong bond, and they were very happy for him finally. There was a lot of funny memes on Twitter when he scored, but I think we're all in all, we're happy because we wanted this for him. Took a while, but I mean, after that, I think it was a good 2-1. Moving ahead,
it was a little bit of a nervy second half.
Yeah,
León had a couple of chances early in the second half to really put it away. Obviously, what should have been the Ormeño brace that was called offside. A couple of other really, really close approximations that just were not finished off. And then I would say the last 25, 30 minutes or so, Mazatlan, give them credit, they have very little talent. They're at the bottom of the table for a reason. But it's not for lack of heart and hustle, especially playing on their home pitch. They gave us a run for their money, obviously pulled one back. Fortunately, weren't able to do more than that, but it was nervy. I feel like we should have been able to close off the game a little bit more convincingly than we did. Obviously they had tired legs. They've been playing 2 tournaments, and they were coming off a midweek match. Even, where they had to give everything just to try to pull off a miracle. And so that had to be weighing on their legs at the end there. Hopefully going down the stretch where they'll only be playing 1 match a week now, that won't be an issue anymore. But it was a little bit nervy there for the last 25 minutes or so. I was like, if they're not careful, they could tie this up.
Yeah. So Raul Guerrero had a couple of comments, and 2 of them we will go into. What was he saying? He said, yeah, Xolos be doing that con la banda en los tacos.
The tailgating.
Yeah.
Yeah, the tailgating, yeah. I'm pretty sure he's been there.
Yeah. Also, it's all good. We get there next year with Atlas' new coach and new players.
And don't know about that. You know something we don't?
Maybe. He also had to mention which there was a talking point about Olan being a candidate for Chile. I mean, his contract does end in May. I honestly don't see him continuing with León, regardless if we win or not. So I don't know what your thoughts are.
Same. I don't see him coming back with us. I don't know if. Listen, man, I think at the club level, he's done well before LigaMX, but now that he's gotten here to LigaMX, it's kind of the pressure's weighing on him. I don't know if he can handle the pressure. And
he already tried to quit once.
He already tried to quit. He already quit once in Brazil, and he tried to quit here. I don't know. I think taking a selección and taking that job adds just a ton more pressure, especially with Chile, and Chile playing in the South America, where you're basically playing really good selecciones, and it's really difficult to make the World Cup there. So I don't know. Is he a candidate? Yes. Is he the best candidate? I don't think so.
This isn't new. When it already was looking like Chile wasn't going to qualify or was going to have to pull off pretty much a miracle to qualify. I mean, his name was one of the ones mentioned. And then that kind of died down between the cycles, and now that they're out, it's pushing back up again, ramping back up, I should say. I can't see him doing well there if he can't handle the pressure in LigaMX. Like that's even more. But I also can't see him turning down the job if it's offered to him.
Yeah.
So
that's true, but that's a long process. Like, are they going to keep him? If he wants to go to
I don't know.
World Cup, is it going to be a 4-year?
I wouldn't read too much into it right now, and I disagree with you guys a little bit. I think if he wins the LigaMX title this season, he would possibly get extended.
You think so?
I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think. Well, actually, I think the offer would be on the table, but I don't think he'll accept it. I think he's done just because of the type of relationship he's had with the players, the fact that he already tried to withdraw once. Expectations are way too high for him. Maybe he doesn't feel like he has support from the front office by only getting one refuerzo this offseason. I don't know. I'm one of those that thinks he doesn't accept it, even if he wins the title.
If he wins a title, he can at least leave with dignity of winning a League's Cup and winning a Liga, and then move on.
Yeah,
it's kind of like with Nacho. Like his Nacho cycle had closed, and I think with Olan, this would be a good cycle to close if we were to win the league.
Yeah, which brings me to my next point. We haven't done a hot take in a long time. I've been thinking about this hot take all weekend. So
all weekend.
Roll the clip. All weekend. I'm serious. All weekend. Roll the clip, and I'll drop this hot take on you guys. So you just mentioned Nacho Gonzalez and winning a championship, retiring. I think when we won that championship in 2020 with Nacho Ambriz, I think that probably was the best time for Chapo Montes to retire from León. Take the championship, walk away. Because I think after that, he's just kind of been inconsistent. He's kind of he's not been his regular self. And a lot of people are saying, well, just retire. You're taking up a spot for a youngster that could be, playing in that spot. Just please retire. Just hang the boots. And I think that would have been a good time for him to retire. So maybe that's my hot take. What do you guys think?
Like an extra hot take.
That's an extra hot take. I mean, we're seeing the decline of Chapo Montes.
I don't know. I think he was still pretty good the following season, despite the fact that the team took too long to get going. By the time they found the rhythm, they were in repechaje, and it was too late to make a real run. That probably should have been it for him.
You don't think with the championship?
I can understand why he went one more season. Now you're right. I mean, it's not the same. But I don't know. Maybe he'll come back this last third of the season and surprise all of us. Maybe he's got one more second wind.
Maybe. But we keep saying that over and over. We said it last season. We said it the season before. And it's like, well, how many wins are we going to expect from him?
See, the thing is, he's been depending on his craftiness for a long time. It's not been he hasn't been fleet of foot for a long time, but he's been crafty. He just knows where to be and what to do. That doesn't go away with age. So I feel like coming out of this injury, some are even saying it wasn't even an injury, that he just didn't want to play. I don't know about that, but all signs point to him being available for selection in what's left of the season. So we'll see.
It's hard for me, I guess, to think about him retiring. I don't know. It's just a player who have identified with the club, and you have, loved, and he's giving you so many good moments, and he's just a very likable player. And he has been aging like wine. He hasn't had his best lately, But like what Louis said, what if he makes a little comeback and then, the end of the season and,
We're
I
all
don't know. I
hoping
just
for
don't
that.
see. I know. And yeah, I mean, it's just hard. Like, I can't
It's
say, like,
hard.
I really want him to retire. It's like, no, I can't.
It's
Really.
hard
Whenever he
because
wants to, he wants
it's
to.
hard because he's our favorite player and he's our captain. He's the leader. He's been here since the Bicampeonato. He's basically a Leon legend. But I mean, it's like Jordan retired after he got that 6th ring because he knew like this is the best way to go out, 6-0. Maybe that was the time for Montes to go out.
But he couldn't quit, Carlos. He came back 5 years later and played for the Wizards.
Maybe Montes could have done that a couple years later.
When he's like in his 40s.
Yeah. No, but that's my hot take. I think it was a good time for him to retire in 2020. Just take the championship, go out like a legend. You have 3 championships with Leon. Just take that and call it a successful career. I just hate to see his decline now. Like I hate to see how he's declining now.
Well, here's the thing about it. I don't think he is psychologically ready to accept a lesser role than what he's been accustomed to, and I don't think Holland has done a particularly good job of finding a lesser role for him. I think there's fault to go around in both of their camps. I think there's a possibility for him to take a reduced role and still be really, really effective for the club. Maybe maybe he's not a 90-minute player anymore, but he could come in. He could either play the first 60 or the last 30 or something like that and still be desequilibrante. He could still come in and change the game. But I think he's got a little bit too much pride to think about a role like that, and Holland has not found a way to use him in that way. So I think that's part of it too. I think it's not just his physical decline. It's like it's his pride as a player. Mm-hmm. And maybe Holland's inability to make the best use of the players he has available. I mean, we've been critical of his substitutions and his patterns all season. I mean, like that's probably his biggest weakness. Like he waits, he either makes them too soon or doesn't make them until way too late.
Yeah.
Takes the wrong guys off, puts guys on who aren't going to make any difference. Those are 2 big things that I think have not helped the twilight of Chapo's career, shall we say.
Mm-hmm.
The Twilight Zone. That's scary to watch. Well, Carlos, are you good getting it off your chest since you thought about it all weekend?
I did. I thought about it all weekend. I'm like, man, it would have been nice for him to just call it a career and walk out the front door, but
then you look at Sambu, right? I mean, obviously Sambu is
that's a different animal. That guy, I don't know what he's on, but he's like the LeBron James of the LigaMX because he just doesn't stop. He keeps going and he just keeps. He's also
he's never been seriously injured, to the best of my knowledge. That helps too.
Yeah. Well, I guess we will see if Chapito Montes can have his small little comeback the rest of the season. Guys, during international break, there was a friendly match versus Chivas. I missed it, but you guys watched it, correct?
Yes.
Any takeaways from that game? I know, friendlies are, happen during international break, obviously opportunity for, teams go out of the country and then give opportunity to other players. Any takeaways from the Leon versus Chivas?
Well, here's the thing about those kind of games. Anytime Chivas is involved, Chivas is always the home team anywhere in the United States. The stands are always packed with Chivas fans, and so Chivas are always more motivated to perform in those kinds of matches, I would say. I've been to a few involving Leon and Chivas, so those kind of friendlies, and it's always that way. I remember one a few years ago in LA in Carson, rather. Mm-hmm. And it was just, there were more Chivas fans there for a meaningless friendly than I've ever seen at Estadio Akron in Guadalajara. It's rather amazing the turnout that Chivas gets in the United States. And that plays into the team's approaches to these games. Like Chivas really goes out to win these games. Leon doesn't so much. That said, I thought Leon was the better team in the match, probably deserved to win, especially in the second half. Chivas was the better team first 20, 25 minutes or so. Much more aggressive, had the better chances. But the goal that they ended up getting was against the run of play, and then finally Elias Hernandez with a PK to tie things up late. Thought it was a fair result, but I do think that León was the better team in the game. Once they settled in, I think they had a lot more quality, and it showed through, and probably deserved more than they got. Not that it matters, but it's nice to see your team perform well and care in matches like these. So I thought León looked pretty good after the first 25 minutes or so. And we saw minutes for Omar Fernandez. Not for Chapito, he did not make the trip, but it was nice to see Omar get some minutes. Nice to see a few of our regulars play and look pretty good. Elias, as I mentioned, scored the game-tying PK. Mosquera played and was good, looked good. I can't remember who else, but
Barreiro, Avion.
Oh,
Poncho
yeah,
Blanco
Barreiro.
had a hell of a game.
Who did?
Poncho Blanco.
Oh, yeah.
He was really on his, like, up there with Cota for that friendly match, and it was just a friendly too, but he really came through. Couple of the youngsters too. I think we had 4 youth academy players in the starting 11, and I think they did pretty well. Armando Leon doing well. Pablo Rangel attacking, trying to create. I think they were really giving Chivas defense a really tough match in that first half when after maybe like the 25th minute. But yeah, I agree. I think we deserve to win. I know Chivas fans are gonna disagree, but yeah, we deserve to win. We had the better chances to score. We did the most. We had the best players on the field. And yeah, I mean, it's good to see players like Omar Fernandez coming back too. That's a huge positive for us going into the second half of the season.
Yeah, people seem to think, people who aren't reading between the lines when they watch their own play, as in a manner of speaking, I think they think that he hasn't been effective for us, but I think he makes an enormous difference when he's healthy and on the pitch. So I'm looking forward to see him back in games that matter.
Yeah, I hope he gets some starting minutes too, because there's this guy on Twitter, Jesus Zavala. Shout out to Jesus. We were talking. He goes, man, we really need to start thinking about getting Chapo Montes' replacement because he's not going to be around forever. And I said, we have him. And he goes, who? I said, Omar Fernandez. He's literally the Chapo Montes of Puebla like 1 season ago. And no, it seems like we all forgot that. It seems like we all forgot that we got him as a replacement for Montes. So I think Montes needs to put his pride aside a little bit. Maybe Jola needs to start starting Omar Fernandez a little bit more in that 10 position, because we can really use him there, I think, especially with this decline of Montes.
Yeah, that's the thing. He hasn't really been used in that role. He does handle a lot of the ball movement, I guess you could say, the ball handling, use a couple of basketball terms. I mean, he is responsible for a lot of that, but he also tends to hug the wing a lot. He's not really in the middle looking to make things happen all around him like Chapo is. And also, I'm not sure he has that inch perfect passing, at least not yet, that Chapo does. I mean, Chapo at his best, like, he can place the ball anywhere in the area. Like, that's what we're missing right now. We're not getting accurate passes into the area. We need somebody who can put an inch perfect pass into the area. We have plenty of guys that, if they get the ball in the right place, can finish, but they're getting the ball a few yards away from the right place and having to scramble and then not putting a good shot on frame. So I don't know. I'm hoping Omar, I mean, he's shown flashes of being able to do things like that. I'm hoping he can do that for us now that he's healthy, or something similar. Yeah.
So yeah, Josue saying, great suggestion, Omar Fernandez, the new Chapito, if that works, man. Hold on to your seats. Then again, I mean, I think Olana also doesn't, I think if that has Omar actually completed a full 90, because he would always come off second half, like 60th minute, 70th minute, never played a full 90. I don't know. What else was I gonna say? Okay, so what did that game end? 1-1? No, 2-1?
It was 1-1 at the end.
1-1?
1-1.
It was a draw, yeah.
1-1 at the end. Also Josue said, I was at Leon versus Chivas at Carson, and Boselli scored with a Chilena at Carson. Good goal, good memories. Definitely.
That was not the one I
remember.
was at. That must have been before. Yeah, that was before. That must have been before. Yeah.
Yeah,
The
I
one
always,
I was at,
I always remember the game. Go on.
I was just going to say the one I was at, we lost. So that, and then
Oh,
Boselli
no.
definitely didn't score. Yeah.
Okay, guys, moving along to the next game on a Sunday. Leon at home, recibiendo a Queretaro. Something to keep in mind is that Davila will not be available for that game as he racked up 5 yellow cards. I don't know, Raul Guerrero had questions about, he said, with, what did he say? Well, he was also talking about Montes back and the new young one. Which 11 would be best for this Sunday? Any
talking about Fidel Ambris
on the particular lineup?
He must be talking
I'm
about Fidel
guessing.
Ambris.
Yeah.
I mean, Fidel has had a couple of shaky moments, but by and large, he's looked pretty good. He didn't look good in the series against Seattle, at least not the first leg. But I don't know. I mean, I would imagine, especially the way things have been going for Chapo with the club, with Holland this season, I wouldn't expect that he would be thrust into the starting lineup right away. So I would imagine that we would still see Fidel starting against Queretaro, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect Montes to start this Sunday. I mean, I would expect something like what we had against Mazatlan. Something like that. Maybe.
But without Davila starting, obviously.
Yeah, without Davila, just Ormeño. Maybe he can
That'd be
rack up a few more goals.
The only switch in that lineup? I mean,
well,
because Gary started that game.
Well, Ormeño also started that game.
So who is trying to
So
look back at...
I'd have to go back and check the lineup.
Any word on
So the
Oshie?
lineup was Cota, Mosquera, Gary, Tecillo, Villa, Fidel Ambris, Colombato, Meneses, Mena, Davila, and Ormeño.
Mm-hmm.
So I would imagine Elias would get the start for Davila.
Yeah, I would say Elias.
And then Barreiro instead of Gary.
Maybe.
Yes.
Gary's not convincing me, guys. I don't know what your thoughts are. He seems kind of sloppy, kind of like,
Yeah.
He's okay. He's not the best. He hasn't given me any like wow factor.
I mean, I think he's kind of like a Gilburon. He's kind of like a cumplidor. He comes in, does his job, but doesn't do anything spectacular. He's not a William Tecillo, for example. He's not gonna 1v1. He's probably gonna lose it, but he's out there, and he's trying. He may get sloppy at times, but comes in, does his job, and we won against Mazatlan, so I can't hate him for that.
That reminds me of like when you got a job, like I just work here. Like I feel like that's scary. Like I just work here. Like that's my job.
Yeah.
Cumpli.
Yeah.
Say,
he's good for a couple of really nervy moments in every match, but I think he's also started to look better the more opportunities he's gotten. I mean, he's never played in LigaMX before. It's always an adjustment. And but I mean, I think he's looked better. I don't expect, again, like Carlos said, we can't expect any Kenny Aguilares from him. I wouldn't expect any moments of greatness. I mean, he's certainly not going to score a goal unless one just falls to him. He's not gonna find the ball in the right place. But I mean, as long as he doesn't have too many sloppy defensive lapses, because there have been a couple of goals that I felt like were primarily his fault. But there have been fewer and fewer of those as he gets more opportunities. So we'll see.
Carlos, you were asking if we've heard of Ozvi. Anything with Ozvi?
Never heard anything. I mean,
So we expecting
Should be
him to be
recovered?
back? Yeah.
maybe bench. I would say if he's ready to go, he'll probably be called to the bench.
I mean,
Yeah.
have to say that Oscar Villa has done a pretty good job of making us not miss him too much.
Yes, and I will stand with that. I would love Villa to just start. Ozvi, we mentioned it, guys, over and over again. It's just this, and I am over with it. So I'm just
he's
saying,
just not
Villa to
consistent.
start.
He's not consistent. Osvi is not consistent.
Well, he actually has something extra to play for now. If he wants to make that World Cup roster, he has to really show up.
He probably won't, Carlos.
He probably won't.
I don't think so either.
You never know. You never know.
You're like, he probably won't.
He probably won't,
You
but
gave him some
let's
hope.
Let's hope he brings up his game a little bit to, at least for us, at least
recover his starting lineup, right?
Mm-hmm.
His starting lineup role, but I'm okay with Villa if you guys are. I don't miss Ozvi. I don't. I can say that cold-heartedly. I don't miss him.
Well, I mean, I've been his harshest critic. You guys are the ones who defend him.
No, we give everybody an opportunity, but when it's time, I will dig in. And I did. So I think Ozvi, if he really wants to make a comeback, he needs to work harder and show, because at this point, Villa for me is taking over. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
¿Qué más? Okay, so I think apart from that, we'll see if we missed Avila that game. But how are you guys feeling about this match versus Queretaro? I know Louis will be attending. Obviously, regarding what happened in Queretaro in the past couple of games, you had mentioned before the pod that this will be the game they'll have Queretaro fans.
Well, yes, this will be the first match that Querétaro will play in front of fans in general since the incident at La Corregidora back on, I believe it was March 5th. I'm not expecting any incidents. Obviously, there will be no barra. There will be no visiting barra. And Leon's barra, interesting note, this week, Club Leon went through a process of creating fan IDs, similar to what the Selección did for everybody who attended these last two matches of World Cup qualifying at the Azteca. Club Leon required all members of Los Locos de Arriba intending to sit in the barra section to go to the club offices and register their fan ID, which kind of a controversial move, but probably necessary at this point if they want to have the barra in the stadium. So Los Locos de Arriba will be in attendance, registered with their fan IDs. Don't expect any sort of presence from the barra from Querétaro, but I do expect to see some fans in Querétaro shirts there. Obviously, it's a quick trip. Rather, it's one of the quicker trips in LigaMX that you can make.
How far is it, Louis?
Well, from Guanajuato, it's about 2 hours. From Leon, I'd say it's about 2.5.
Oh, okay.
Ish. Yeah.
Yeah.
Depending on traffic from either location, it can be anywhere from 2 to 3. But it's close. And there were always a ton of Leon fans at La Corregidora. Those days are probably over. But I do expect to see some Querétaro fans in Querétaro jerseys at El Glorioso, but I don't expect any incidents.
Oh, no.
Security in general is better at El Glorioso than it is at La Corregidora, and there will be no barra. And if they attempt to form themselves into any sort of barra, I think they will be quickly separated, as was the case in the last few matches. So yeah, I'm not concerned about it, but it is interesting to note. Querétaro has not played in front of fans. All of their matches since the incident until now have been behind closed doors. So it should be an interesting environment.
So Louis, you already did your fan ID?
I don't have to do a fan ID
you don't
because I'm not going to Puerta Cinco.
Oh, so only
it's only for the traditional section of the barra.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. I know for example, I guess Santos, they're having like everybody do
Yes.
fan ID. So I wasn't sure if that would apply to you.
When I go next month to Torreon, see if you're still there, Cari. When I go next month to Torreon to the match, I will have to create a fan ID. That is my understanding. There and
Yeah.
a few other stadiums, including El Jalisco. Atlas is also requiring the same thing. And I had to do it also to go to USA Mexico at the Azteca.
Okay.
Yeah.
How was the process?
It was very simple. And it generated a QR code, which supposedly was going to be scanned along with the ticket at the gate, but they didn't check the QR code. So I don't know.
You don't know.
maybe it was all for show. I don't really know, but I mean, just making people go through the process, I think, helps the situation. I have no problem with it. I know some people don't like giving out their information and like letting these people have too much of their information. I personally don't have a problem with it. If it makes the environment safer, then I'm all for it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
They never scanned it.
Nice.
They never scanned the QR code, although my understanding is my ticket wouldn't have scanned if I hadn't have gone through the process of registering it.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
So there's that.
There's that backup layer.
Yeah.
Okay. Guys, anything else before we move on to predictions?
Let's do it.
So, let's do right before predictions. The rest of what the rest of the jornada looks like. Tomorrow night, Santos versus Mazatlan. Then we'll have Saturday matches: Cruz Azul Atlas, Necaxa América, Juárez Pumas. And then Sunday, 4 games on Sunday: Toluca Puebla, obviously León Queretaro, Tigres Xolos, and Santos Pachuca. Currently, León is sitting at position number 5. Pachuca leading after Tigres, Puebla, Atlas, then León, Cruz Azul, Monterrey, Necaxa, Xolos, and Chivas as the top 10 at this moment. Juárez at the 18th spot. America 15, so it's nice to see them down there. But yeah. Shout out to the guys from the Liga podcast. But sorry, I'm enjoying that this season. Okay, guys, let's go ahead and do prediction time.
Prediction time!
Sunday match versus Querétaro. Louis will be attending. What is your prediction, sir?
Look, these next 2 matches, I think, are vitally important for our aspirations in the tournament. And this one needs to be a win. You cannot lose to Querétaro, or you cannot drop points to Querétaro at home, especially after, that team is in shambles in every sense of the word. We need to come out of the gates after this international break and stick it to them at least 3-0. It's got to be a 3-0. I know we have not scored 3 goals in a match at any point this season. We have to score it. We have to go out there. This has got to be the first one. 3-0 against Querétaro, leave no doubt. Get an early one and just keep pouring on. These next 2 matches need to be 6 points, but especially this one needs to be 3. If these next matches are 6 points, I think we'll be in the top 4. And then after that, it gets a little tougher, but we control our own destiny. That's what we need to be shooting for at this point. Getting these quote-unquote easier matches, we need those points in the bag so that we can finish out strong and control our own destiny to try to get in the top 4. Because as it has played out in repechaje, if you're not in the top 4, your chances of making a serious title run are complicated. We do not want to play the repechaje. Starts with a big win on Sunday at home, 5 p.m. Should be sunny, warm. 3-0. 3-0, León.
3-0. Carlos.
I'm going to go with a 2-0 as well. But we have to be careful of Sepúlveda from Querétaro, who's always dangerous. He's their striker. Querétaro's coming off of a win against San Luis, so maybe their confidence is a little high. But I don't know. It depends on how they play us. If they come out and park the bus, it might give us some issues. I don't know, but I think in the end we'll get out of there with a 2-0 win. And we have a chance to actually be in the top 4 by the end of the jornada. If Atlas either loses or ties with Cruz Azul. So, yeah, we control our own destiny. Let's get these 3 points. It's a very winnable match. And, yeah, it'll put us in a good position moving forward.
Okay, 2-0. Josue had shared his. He said 1-0 Leon, and also said, I would normally say 3-1 Leon, but honestly, I don't know if we can. Props, Louis, I agree with you. We need 3 goals, which I'm going to say 3-1. So, yeah, I'm going to say 3-1. Yes, like Louis, we need 3 goals. Maybe we'll get one, we'll concede one. But all in all, we need to win, especially I'm looking at the next games. After we're away at San Luis, home to Puebla, then we have away at America, away at Santos, and then home to Toluca, which should be interesting. But Toluca's not having a best moment, so I don't know.
Yeah,
what
I
look
think
like at the end of the season.
I think maybe Ormeño gets on the score sheet again in this one.
1 goal, 2 goals.
I think he just gets 1, but I think he gets on the score sheet. I think maybe I'll say Ormeño and a Mena brace.
Okay.
I
Carlos,
think both of those guys.
Ormeño?
I think both of those guys,
scoring again.
mundialistas. I think both of those mundialistas are going to come out of the gates really motivated in this one.
Ormeño scoring again.
Yeah,
I mean, especially against Queretaro. It should be an easy. It should be, doblete by Ormeño. I'm calling it.
I mean, it depends on how Queretaro wants to play us. You know, they could park the bus, and then that'll make things difficult. But I mean, if we can break them down and get an early one, even if they're parking the bus, I mean, that'll open things up, and that's going to be how we get our 3-0 or 3-1.
Definitely. Well, guys, I think that's it. That's all we got for today. Thank you everybody that joined us via Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Thank you for Josue and Raul to being very interactive with us in the chat, sharing your thoughts, everything. Also making the conversation going. Louis will be there in attendance, so look out for his content out there at the game. If you guys are missing the game for any reason, don't forget to follow Club Leon EN to keep you updated with all the game info in case you're missing it for whatever reason. But yeah, guys, so we're going to wrap this show up. Hope to see you guys on another episode of the Lions and Podcast.